I thought I had finally escaped him. 2 years of silence. 2 years of burying every memory under new cities, new faces, and the occasional meaningless fling. But fate, or maybe just the cruelty of corporate America, decided to laugh in my face. Because when I walked into the glass-walled conference room of our Manhattan office that Monday morning, there he was. Ethan Hayes, my ex, my first love, my mistake. He didn't even flinch when our eyes met. Typical Ethan. Always in control, always smug, as if the universe bent to his will. His jaw was set. His dark hair gleamed under the fluorescent lights, and his stupid perfect smile made me want to smash the glass pitcher of water sitting on the table. Instead, I sat down 2 chairs away from him, gripping my pen so hard I thought it might snap. "Looks like we'll be working together again," he said casually, as if he hadn't shattered me into 1,000 pieces 2 years ago. I wanted to laugh, or maybe scream. Instead, I shot back, "Don't flatter yourself. This is just business." But here's the truth I didn't dare say out loud. My heart hadn't gotten the memo. It was racing, betraying me with every beat, as though it recognized him before my brain could remind me of all the nights I spent crying into my pillow, promising I would never forgive him. The project was Massivian international campaign that could either launch my career into orbit or burn it to ashes. And the cruel irony? Ethan was the creative director, which meant no matter how much I wanted to ignore him, we would be side by side for the next 6 months. 6 months of late nights, brainstorming sessions, heated arguments, and the kind of closeness I'd spent years trying to erase. From the very first week, the tension was unbearable. He challenged every idea I had, pushed me harder, questioned me in front of the team. At times it felt like sabotage. Other times it felt like he still cared, like he couldn't stand the idea of me shining without him. One evening, after yet another 12-hour workday, I caught him watching me across the office. Everyone else had left. My laptop screen reflected my tired face, but his gaze was burning through me like a spotlight. "What?" I snapped, shoving papers into my bag. "Nothing," he said, his voice softer than I remembered. "Just, you've changed." That was Rich. He was the one who'd walked away, leaving me hollow. He didn't get to observe me like some science project. "I had to," I muttered, avoiding his eyes. "People don't survive by staying the same." He didn't reply, but the silence between us was louder than any argument we'd ever had. The next week, things got worse or maybe better, depending on how you look at it. A client dinner turned into a mess when the CEO's son, a spoiled trust fund brat with too much champagne in his veins, started flirting with me. I brushed it off, smiling politely, trying to keep the peace. But Ethan? Oh, Ethan nearly lost his mind. He leaned in, jaw clenched so tight I thought he might break a tooth, and whispered in my ear, "Do you enjoy being his entertainment?" I froze. His breath was warm against my skin, and the jealousy in his voice was unmistakable. It was reckless, dangerous, but a part of meth part one hated thrilled at the sound of it. Later that night, when the dinner was over and I thought I was free, he cornered me outside the restaurant, beneath the golden glow of the streetlights. "You shouldn't let people talk to you like that," he said, his eyes blazing. "And what does it matter to you?" I shot back. "You lost the right to care, remember?" For a moment I thought he'd explode. But instead, he did something worse. Looked at me like I was still his, like the past 2 years had been a bad dream. "Maybe I did," he admitted, his voice cracking in a way I'd never heard before. "But I can't stand watching someone else touch what used to be mine." Those words hit me like a sucker punch. I wanted to tell him to go to hell. I wanted to remind him of every fight, every betrayal, every sleepless night I spent begging him to stay. But instead, all I could do was stand there, trembling, as the city roared around us. Because deep down, buried under the anger and hurt, the fire he'd lit in me had never truly gone out. And maybe, just maybe, he knew it too. The following days blurred into a storm of emotions. Work became both torture and salvation. Our arguments grew sharper, but so did the moments of connection. A shared laugh over a late-night pizza, his hand brushing mine as we reached for the same folder. The way he remembered how I still took my coffee 2 sugars. No cream, like he had memorized every detail of me and never let it fade. But just when I started to wonder if maybe you could find our way back, the past came crashing in. A rumor circulated in the office. Someone whispered that Ethan and I had history, that we were too close, too distracted, too compromised. In a cutthroat world where reputations mattered more than feelings, this was dangerous. First, I denied it. I told myself it didn't matter what people thought. But when our boss pulled us aside, warning us that personal drama could sink the project, I realized just how fragile everything was. Ethan, of course, handled it like a pro. He smiled, nodded, promised it wouldn't affect our work. And maybe he believed it. But I saw the flicker in his eyes, the same fear I felt, that we were standing on the edge of something we couldn't control. That night, as I lay awake in my apartment, staring at the ceiling, I asked myself the question I'd been avoiding since the day I saw him again. Did I still love him? The answer, no matter how much I wanted to fight it, was yes. A quiet, aching yes that pulsed through every vein in my body. And if I was being honest, maybe I always had. The pressure of the project only intensified, and with it, so did the pull between us. Nights blurred into dawns as we poured ourselves into the campaign, and somewhere in the middle of deadlines and chaos, I realized the wall I had built around myself was crumbling. Still, I fought it. I told myself I was stronger now, that I wouldn't be the same person who once let Ethan's choices break me. But my resolve weakened every time his hand brushed mine in the conference room, every time his voice softened when it was just the two of us. The breaking point came late one Friday. The office was empty, the city lights glowing like stars outside the windows. Ethan leaned against the table, sleeves rolled up, his tie discarded. He looked human, not the untouchable man who once left me, not the arrogant director, but someone raw, tired, and searching. "I heard the rumors got worse," he said quietly. I closed my laptop with a snap. Rumors always get worse. That's what they do. But this isn't just gossip. They're saying we're jeopardizing everything. That you only got this job because of me. The words sliced through me like a blade. That's not true. Of course it's not, he said firmly. You're here because you're brilliant. But they don't care about truth. They just want something to whisper about in the elevator. I stared at him, my anger and hurt bubbling to the surface. And what about us, Ethan? Do you want them to be right? Do you want them to say I was just your mistake who came crawling back? His face fell, and for once he didn't have an answer. The silence between us stretched, heavy and suffocating, until finally, he stepped closer. You were never a mistake, he whispered. Leaving you, that was the mistake. The biggest one of my life. The confession shattered something inside me. All the walls, all the bitterness, all the pain. I had been holding it in for so long. But in that moment, it poured out of me. Tears stung my eyes, and I hated that he could still do this to me, still make me feel like I was standing on the edge of a cliff with no ground beneath me. Then why did you leave? I asked, my voice breaking. He took a shaky breath. Because I was afraid. Afraid of how much I needed you. Afraid of what people would think. Afraid of myself. And by the time I realized I'd thrown away the only thing that ever really mattered, it was too late. His honesty gutted me. For the first time, I saw the cracks in his armor, the vulnerability he had always hidden. And against all logic, all the pain, I wanted to believe him. Before I could stop myself, I whispered, "And what now?" He didn't hesitate. He reached for my hand, his fingers trembling as they laced with mine. "Now I fight for you, if you'll let me." The weeks that followed were a test. We stayed professional in public, but behind closed doors, the lines blurred. Every late-night meeting ended with stolen moments. His hand lingering on my shoulder, my gaze drifting too long to his lips. The fire we tried to bury was alive again, and this time, neither of us had the strength to smother it. But the world didn't stop watching. One morning, I walked into the office to find an anonymous email circulating. A grainy photo of us leaving the restaurant together that night, too close, too familiar. The subject line was simple: conflict of interest. The fallout was immediate. Whispers in the hallways, cold stares in meetings. The unspoken question hanging over us were we jeopardizing the project for our own hearts. I nearly quit. I drafted my resignation, convinced it was the only way to protect my career. But when Ethan found out, he stormed into my apartment, his eyes blazing with fury. "You're not running away," he said, slamming the paper down on my coffee table. "Ethan, no." He cut me off, his voice breaking. "I lost you once because I was a coward. I won't let fear take you from me again. Let them talk. Let them think whatever they want. At the end of the day, the only thing that matters is what's real between us." I looked at him, at the man who had once destroyed me and was now standing in my living room, begging for another chance. And in his eyes, I didn't see the arrogant boy I had loved. I saw someone who had learned, who had changed, who was willing to fight. Slowly, I tore the resignation letter in half. His shoulders sagged with relief, and in that moment, I realized something simple but undeniable. I still wanted him. The project launched with roaring success. The campaign was hailed as innovative, bold, and unforgettable. And though the whispers didn't vanish, they quieted, because results spoke louder than rumors. On the night of the launch party, surrounded by flashing cameras and clinking glasses, Ethan found me on the balcony, away from the noise. The city stretched out before us, alive and endless. "You know," he said softly, "we could disappear right now, just you and me. Leave the noise behind." I laughed, shaking my head. "And go where?" "Anywhere," he replied, "as long as you're there." I turned to him, my heart pounding, and for once, I didn't fight it. I didn't push him away or bury my feelings under fear. Instead, I let him pull me into his arms, let his lips find mine under the stars. The kiss was everything, the pain, the longing, the years of silence, all crashing together into something fierce and tender and real. It wasn't perfect. It wasn't easy, but it was us. When we pulled apart, I rested my forehead against his. "So what now?" I whispered. "Now," he said, smiling through his tears. "We start over. No more running. No more fear. Just us." For the first time in years, I believed him. And for the first time in years, I believed in us. The city glittered around us, but all I saw was him. Ethan, my first love, my heartbreak, my second chance, and maybe, just maybe, my forever. Thank you for listening. Don't forget to like and subscribe to stay updated with the latest videos.